Good morning to all traders. It's good to be with you here. I'm Ashley Reeve. This is the opening bell. It is the 2nd of June, traders. Ladies and gentlemen, we are already 6 months into 2026. Before we get started here, remember all the information we discuss in this video is opinion and should not be construed as advice in any way. So let's get into it. Let's see what's happening on the markets. We are, really positioning ourselves here and focusing on the major global indices because they give us the clearest picture, or at least some form of clarity of where money is flowing and how investors could be feeling about the week ahead. And so we want to try and see, what's happening in the U.S. from the US 30 perspective, as well as the S&P 500. So if you're in here this morning, good morning. I see transfers there, Tato. I see you there, Tato, 2 times. I see you, ice cold. All right, are you ready? I hope you are. All right, so the major US indices continue to push into record territory, and that's a strong signal that buyers are still willing to put money to work. When I say record territories, I'm referring to the much higher time frames here, all right? It's exactly what I mean. It is still bullish, and the fuel behind this move remains the same. A story we've been discussing for months. It's AI, and more AI. And so big technology companies continue attracting capital. And as long as that happens, the US market remains the engine pulling global equities higher. What this tells us as traders is that the bulls are still in control until proven otherwise. You can see there from a daily perspective for the month of June, we are still at those highs. Now, from a technical standpoint, there could be a correction coming. If you look into the shorter time frames, you can see that price has now created a low. So from a market structure perspective, if this is the low and we have a lower high, then obviously we might get a lower low here, which suggests that there could be some more of, or at least a deeper correction coming here, all right, down to these areas. You can always use a Fibonacci retracement tool to get some form of level if you are doing that. But there is a low there. The S&P 500 has exactly the same structure. It looks exactly the same or identical. And so we're seeing the high. It's now created a low there, and it's now, pushing on a lower high. But we'll see if it surpasses, all right? Remember, we're also correlating the oil price here, so don't forget that. That's also critical for us to see. King, I see you there. Good morning. And then we also looking at the Hang Seng here this morning, guys. Now, it managed to move higher and continues to benefit from the technology-related buying. What's important for this, many investors, international investors, is seeing that Hong Kong is becoming the preferred gateway into Chinese technology and innovation. While the property concerns remain in the background, the technology sector is currently winning that battle. All right, so that's what we're dealing with here on the Hang Seng side. It does tell traders something, though, that Hong Kong is showing better relative strength than mainland China at this moment in time. And we want to try and see where this one goes. You can see it's already broken out. So with the equities, or at least the indices, moving higher, there could be a much weaker dollar here as a correction coming out today. And we'll go into that oil price once I'm done. All right. Australia, the AUS 200 moved lower. Traders became a little bit more cautious ahead of the key economic data releases. Australia often acts like a thermometer for global growth because of its strong links to the commodities and the Chinese demand. And you can see it went a little bit lower and it's up again now. But we must remember, when China slows down, Australia usually feels it fairly quickly. So it does tell the traders that the market is becoming cautious about the global growth expectations. And lastly, the Nikkei, similar here. All the indices are looking similar, guys. They've all created a low and they are now advancing a little bit higher here. It did pull back this morning, as you can see, but this doesn't look like any fear-driven sentiment or selling. After those strong rallies and record highs, many traders simply are locking in those profits. All right. At the same time, markets are watching the possibility of those interest rate hikes from the Japan Central Bank. Look at that low and a lower high there. Now, this does tell the traders that this currently looks more like a healthy breather then the start of something, one would say ugly. So let's have a look. But what we can expect today's trading sessions will likely revolve around a simple question. Can the US strength continue to outweigh weakness elsewhere? If the US indices continue holding near their highs, expect the risk appetite to remain healthy. And if technology stocks keep attracting buyers, that should continue supporting that broader market sentiment. All right, so the overall tone remains cautiously bullish. The bulls still have the upper hand because the world's most important market, the US, is making new highs. However, there are obviously a few clouds on the horizon. The China slowdown is that concern. And then obviously the geopolitical tensions, the Middle East remain unpredictable. And then the interest rate expectations have not disappeared yet. All right, so let's have a look. Let's see what's happening. Particle, I see you there. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see what happens, guys. All right, but just a quick loop around on that oil price. We ascended. We ascended. That was the right word. I thought I said descended, but we ascended up. We went past expectations. We thought it's going to push to about 94. It went up to 96, 96, 97. And this is a correction taking place now. So this could be the support area where we see the next push coming for the oil price. We could be advancing further up now, guys, past the 97, maybe to the 99, roughly around this area here. We need to see it first, obviously, turn. This has to be a support. So for us to get a support, we need a high now to be established. We need a higher low, and then we need a higher high. Once we have that in place, all right, then we obviously have a support that is formed here for price to advance. All right. Now, if that happens, USD JPY could be advancing further up like it did yesterday. Euro USD could be coming down here because we did have the low. The AUD USD could be coming down here. This one has actually gone and created a much higher lower high there. We did have one yesterday, but it seems like price had to just extend a little bit further up. In actual fact, if I put on the relative strength index here, you can clearly see. Let me just go down a little bit here. Let's see if we have price on the much lower time frames here showing some form of divergence. You can't see it here. Look at this. When I go into there we go. I'm seeing the divergence. There we go. It's actually on the minute frames. There we go. All right. So here you can see price is moving up, but over here you can see price is actually squaring. All right, look at that. You can see it squaring over there, which means that is a resistance. That's a resistance that has formed. Will it hold? We're not sure yet, guys. We're not sure yet. Let's have a look and see what's happening later on in the day. And then obviously GBP USD, we've not gone into that one. It's not broken that support, so we did not engage. We engaged the NZD USD though. It went down beautifully to that zone there. This is now the correction taking place. This is yesterday's update, all right? The gold price also a tank to the downside here. Beautiful move. And this is the correction that's taking place now, all right? And then obviously, guys, have a look at those indices that I mentioned here this morning. But keep an eye on the oil price. Keep an eye on the oil price. We may just go down a little bit further first, all right? We may. It's absolutely possible that we may just go down a little bit further. We could come down, roughly to the zone here. But this block, this one here, that is where we expect a bit of support to be found, somewhere around these areas here. Now, if that happens, that's good. But if price breaks down below, traders, that's a different ballgame now. All right? That it simply means the oil price on the higher time frames is continuing its descent. And it means there's a lot of slowing down. So we would look at 84 here as a support level, which was the one before. So keep a close eye on this. Keep a close eye on this. It's either we find support roughly here or we push down completely. All right. I see there, Peter, good morning. Firstly, and then I see the please on Bitcoin. Let's go and see what's happening on Bitcoin very quickly. I know that T will be with you guys on the crypto. All right, but let's have a look, see quickly. You can see it's at 69,000. It's come down. And let's just see where we could be locking in here with BTC. All right, I'm not going to use the lower time frames, I'm talking 5s or 10s here. Let's just look at this one here. Let's look at 15. Let's look at 20. All right, let's look at 20. Let's use 20 here. So 20 this is the structure that 20 is giving us. On the higher time frames, let's have a look. See, 4 hour, 6, 12. All right, here we go. Bitcoin is at a support, guys. All right, Bitcoin is literally at a support. This is the structure that Ash is dealing with here right now. So either we are continuing the descent to the downside, all right, which takes us to these areas over here. But remember, from there, we can find some form of support and we can go back to those zones there. So we actually just in a correction still, Peter. So just check it out. Check it out. We're still in a correction here. We could go deeper or we could find a bounce over here. It all depends on what is happening with the oil price today. If the oil price, well, this week, if it goes up, then obviously some of the guys are going to be moving, a lot of the cash into the US dollar instead of the BTC and so forth. All right. But once that oil price cools down, some of the guys will be pushing back into the riskier assets, which would be phenomenal. So let's see how it goes this today. We are trading increments of the market. Remember, guys, we're looking at the structure and then we're trading the fragmental move of the market. All right, but have a good one here today. There is a trading room, guys. And if you've not opened that account with us, you can visit our website at www.tdmarkets.com. You can also email our support team there at care@tdmarkets.com. But have a wonderful, wonderful morning, a good late morning. This is an early one, late one, and then have a fantastic afternoon and evening. All right, we'll see you guys very soon. It's Ashley Reeve here with the opening bell. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.